Ladies and gentlemen, I would say boys and girls, but I don't think anybody under the age of 18 is watching the Squirrel Tribe. Although, if they did, maybe they learned some stuff before they got out into the world on their own, so they understood exactly what's going on in this world of ours. Hopefully, you guys are having a fabulous day. I don't know how many people are here. We're just going to jump into stuff because I got stuff to do. I'm sure y'all have stuff to do, but I want to have this conversation with y'all real quick. Normally I give you a second to show up and for YouTube to finish doing its laggy stuff. Hopefully you guys can hear me like I've said before. I can't really see if you can hear me or not, but we're just gonna go. You ready? I see some flags. Let's get it. All right. The first thing we're gonna talk about, we're gonna talk about Trump. Obviously we're gonna do that first actually. We're gonna talk about RFK Jr and how he is savage as all get out. We're going to talk about some libtards who have lost their minds. We're going to talk about some illegals who are packing a plane right now and headed to Venezuela. We're going to talk about people who probably should have got hit by cars and I don't know why people stop for them, and just some other random stuff. But the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to listen to Donald Trump, President Donald J. Trump, the 47th and was 45th president of the United States, say something that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. And the reason they're going to be interested in what he's about to say is because, for those of you who know, tariffs, they're going to be a bitch. All right, let's just go ahead and put it out there like that. There are tariffs that are going on everywhere. Everybody's like, oh, you want to tariff me? I'm going to tariff you. We're going to out-tariff each other. It's going to be a tariff war. It's going to be absolutely stupid, but we will all survive, and that is what is important. But one of the tariffs that is going to go into effect, from what I remember reading, hearing, seeing, is if you purchase a car from outside of the United States, it's manufactured somewhere that's not here and then shipped in here, there's going to be tariffs on that kind of thing. I don't know for a fact if the tariffs are going to go to the manufacturers, how the tariffs are going to work on that. I just know there is going to be incentives to not purchase anything that is manufactured outside of our borders, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to with this whole tariff everything. But President Trump here has just put a little cherry on the top for people who are going to buy a vehicle that is manufactured here in the US of A. Now, let's be specific here. We do know that Teslas are manufactured here in the USA. And we talked about this a while ago, that the Teslas in the United States that are manufactured here are manufactured 100% here. But there's also Teslas that are manufactured in other countries. But the interesting part is, from what I have gathered, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, and if I'm wrong, please forgive me, but what I have gathered is the Teslas that say they're 100% here in the United States, it's because they're made 100% here in the United States. Not that Tesla only builds in the United States. Whereas Nissan and Ford and GMC and GM, Chevy stuff, whatever, they pull pieces from everywhere and then build it here. So it's not, I don't know that it's the same. Whereas Tesla, they're saying everything's manufactured here. So that's where I think we're at with this. But I want you to hear what Trump has just said about if you purchase a car here in the United States. Let's see if this will play with volume. Let's try to figure this out because, you know, iPad doing iPad things. All right, you ready? I'm ready.
You build a car in the United States, and one thing that I just spoke with John Thune about, I just spoke to Mike Johnson about, Speaker. We're going to do something that has never been done in this country before. I'm very proud to say it was my idea. And so sometimes a simple idea, they say, how'd you think of that one? It's so simple, it was never done. If you buy a car in the United States that's made in the United States, if it's manufactured here, when you borrow money, if you borrow money, you have interest payments, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment for income tax reasons. And I think that's going to more than pay for itself. I think people are going to be, they've never had a deduction. You know, deductions are supposed to be for like rich people, and it's unfair to have that. But rich people are, I think I know more about deductions than any human being on earth. But, you know, the truth is that people that are middle-income people that buy a car and actually have to borrow money, they're going to now get an interest deduction on their car if it's made in the United States. If it's made someplace else.
That's huge. I mean, that is huge for people. I mean, I don't know how many people are trying to run out and buy some cars right now, but at the end of the day, the fact that there is going to be some sort of incentive for purchasing here is huge, and it's going to be helpful to a lot of people because I don't know the last time people bought cars. I got a new car. Technically, I traded my Jeep in for a Ford Expedition because I needed bigger vehicle during hurricane season. Since my mother moved here, we needed to leave because we thought the hurricane was coming this way. We needed to make sure we could fit the whole family and my mom and the animals and everything in one vehicle, and it wasn't an option in a Jeep unless, you know, we're trying to do it Flintstone style and pack everything on top and sit in each other's laps. Not feasible, right? But the interest rates I thought were going to be through the roof, just like with the housing market right now, where interest rates are like in the high six and low to mid sevens, not in the eights anymore, thankfully, I believe. But the interest on the car I got was under 2%. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was under 2%. And there's plenty of them out there that also have 0% interest right now, but others that don't. I guess it also does depend on your credit score. My credit score is rather high. I've talked to you guys about it before, how I took it from 535 to 840 in all of 4 months, I believe it was, which is almost unheard of. But anyway, the interest rate I know has a lot to do with what your credit score may be also. So for people who happen to have maybe a shoddy credit score because the last 4 years people are living through credit cards and stuff because the economy has been absolute dog shit and people have been losing their jobs and all this other stuff, they may have a lower credit score, which means they're going to be shoved with a higher interest rate, which again is absolutely stupid. If you have, generally speaking, a lower credit score, in theory, you're not making as much money either. So then charging more is kind of ass backwards and makes it very hard for people to get out of the hole that they're already in. But that's not the topic here today. We'll do that some other time. But for Trump to go through and say, hey, listen, we're going to make it so that you can, how he said, if you buy a car in the United States that's made in the United States, we're going to let you deduct the interest payments for income tax. That is huge. At the end of the day, that is huge. It may help numerous families out be able to buy and afford a vehicle. It'll help people with their taxes and everything else. I think it's great. That I just saw that was about an hour ago. The Hodge twins posted it up on X, so that's why we're talking about that first. Now, the next thing I would like to talk to you guys about, I am all for tough love. Okay, very, very all for tough love. RFK Jr is, it turns out, also very much for tough love. I have to do tough love with myself every once in a while. I want to go, you know, eat the box of cookies, and I'm like, hey, you just got done bitching about the fact that you put on like 40 pounds in the last year and a half. Do you really need the cookies? And I have to do the tough love thing. It's like, you can't complain about this if you're not going to do anything to fix it. Well, RFK Jr., instead of having this conversation with this man in private about, hey, listen, you're looking a little unhealthy. I am the new whatever of the Health and Human Services, and as the whatever of the Health and Human Services, it's up to me to really try my best to make everybody understand how they could be healthier. He could have had this conversation with this man in private, but instead, on a stage, he says, this is to the West Virginia governor, Patrick Morrisey. Look, this is the picture. It's in the thumbnail. You guys saw it. This is Patrick Morrisey. And RFK Jr., who is ripped for an older dude, he is ripped. I know people half his age who wish they could look like RFK Jr. Hell, I wish I could look like RFK Jr. Hello, but not like that. Y'all know what I mean. But like the abs and like the muscles and the whatnots. But he says, I'm just gonna let you listen. We're just gonna listen. How about that? Me trying to explain it to you is gonna sound real stupid when you could just listen to RFK Jr. say it. And if I could back up. All right, you ready for this? I mean, savage.
I got to know, I said to Dr. Morris, or Governor Morrissey, the first time I saw him, I said, you look like you ate Governor Morrissey. And there was a lot of talk about getting healthy again, and I'm very happy that he's invited me to be his personal trainer. And I am going to put him on a really rigorous regimen. And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet.
Which is what I'm trying to be on.
We're going to make him raise your hand if you want Governor Morrissey to do a public weigh-in once a month. And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state and do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him.
Listen, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's fat shaming, that's whatever. Call it fat shaming, call it tough love, call it savage AF, call it funny. I don't know what you want to call it mean. It depends on how you look at things. I look at it like, ooh, ugh. For emotional eaters like myself, that would have had me turning to a Big Mac or something like absolutely awful, right? That's how I am. I am a very emotional eater, and when I feel like I'm being attacked, I have a tendency to like overeat. It's always been my thing. I don't know why. It sucks. It is what it is. I don't know what this governor's like. I don't know if Patrick Morrissey is that kind of guy. If RFK Jr. having this conversation in front of these people on a crowd and on a stage in front of these people, knowing good and damn well that this is now going to go viral because hello, obviously we got to talk about it. If that's going to push him into a negative eating spiral or weird, and he goes, oh, this is really gonna push my ass into gear and I'm gonna do everything you say, and then next thing you know, he's gonna be more buff than RFK Jr. It's possible. I used to be obsessed. I'm not even gonna pretend like I wasn't. Full obsessed with The Biggest Loser. And this is when I was actually when I first started watching The Biggest Loser was when I was at about 232 pounds, and I was like, well, of course they can do it. They're on a camp and they're being fed 500 calories a day and they're working out 18 hours a day, and of course they can do it and whatever else. But I still found it very motivating, right? So after I had my daughter, I started going to the gym when she was like 2 years old, and I went from 232 when I was pregnant, 201 pounds for like 2 years after having my kid, and from 201 down to, I think the smallest I got was 147, but a lot of that was muscle. So I went from like a size 16 almost to a size 3, 4, whatever, right? And I realized I didn't need to eat 500 calories a day, and I did not need to work out 18 hours a day. But the show, I used to be absolutely obsessed with it, and now looking back at it, I'm like, that was kind of a mean show. The things they did to those people, the things they said to those people, kind of mean, and it was not realistic at all, because the second that show ended and those people went home, most of them said and puffed right back up, because they did not have the same closed in box on how things were being done. They were like shoved back out into the real world, right? Where you had temptation and you had to go back to work and you had to get back to regular life, and there went your 500 calories and there went your 18 hours a day on a treadmill, you know, basically chasing the donut on the treadmill. And it's very difficult to go through that kind of thing. So when I see RFK Jr. talking to this guy about this guy on stage, I was like, I don't know how I would feel about that if I was Patrick Morrissey. If it would trigger, I'm going to use the word trigger because the left is not the only people allowed to use the word trigger. If it would trigger some sort of negative emotional response, which would then push them to overeat more, or if it would put them into gear, you know what I mean? Either way, I don't want to say I'm going to keep paying attention to it, but I'm going to keep paying attention to it. I want to see what he does. I want to see if this is something that puts him into, you know, let's get it done. What's crazy is a lot of the comments, Colin Rugg posted this, and what's crazy is a lot of people are like, well, that's fat shaming. And some people said, well, they fat shamed the crap out of Lizzo, and now Lizzo's lost a lot of weight. They used to fat shame Adele, then Adele lost a lot of weight. They fat shamed all these different people. What's her name? Lana Del Rey, all these different people, and they all lost weight. And it's like, well, there's a difference between fat shaming and pointing out that somebody could be healthier if they wanted to make different choices in their life. But just, you know, telling somebody that they're fat and they've got double chins and all that other stuff, it's not helpful at all. Just so we're awfully aware, and saying I'm gonna make you weigh in front of everybody, I don't know if I would go that far. RFK Jr., I understand why he does what he does, right? Same thing with Trump. I understand why Trump does what he does, says the things he says, talks the way he talks, but at the end of the day, it's definitely going to rub some people the wrong way. Generally speaking, it's the people who don't want to hear certain things, the people who don't want to hear that they're overweight, the people who don't want to hear that they could be healthier, all that kind of stuff. But I think it's interesting that we are now in an era of, and yes, I'm using the word era, we're now in an era or a time frame of fuck your feelings. That's pretty much what it comes down to. FAFO, but also FYF. Fuck your feelings. Yeah, FYF. I need a t-shirt that says that. That would be fun. Oh, I actually have one. I have one that says that. I forgot. That's probably why it's in my head. But either way, RFK Jr. is a savage. Now, back to Trump because, squirrel brain, we just all over the place here. This is something that Chuck Schumer posted. So obviously the first thing I thought was kick rocks, because not a fan of Schumer at all. He's absolute waste of, human skin. But he posted, this is how he posted this. He said, Trump's dark of night action strips away the ability of hardworking Americans to bargain for better wages and benefits, a dagger to the heart of the middle class. Everything Trump does is in service to his billionaires club while eroding the American dream for working families. That's how Chuck Schumer posted it. But I assume with a raspy, evil voice. And I don't really know how to do those. So this is what he's talking about. New York Times post here says, ready? Trump moves to end union protections across broad swath of government. Swath? That feels right. President Trump instructed a broad swath of government agencies on Thursday, that's yesterday, to end collective bargaining with federal unions, a major escalation in his effort to assert more control over the federal workforce. Obviously, lefties wrote this. Mr. Trump, he said, Mr. Trump, yes, please park right here next to me because that's not awkward at all, sir. Mr. Trump framed the order as critical to protect national security, but it targets agencies across the government, including the Department of Defense, Veterans Affairs, State, Treasury, and Energy, most of the Justice Department, and parts of the Department of Commerce, Homeland Security, and Health and Human Services. Number one, get his name right. It is President Trump. It is not Mr. Trump. Anyway, not the point. Actually, yeah, still the point, but it's President Trump. The second you say Mr. Trump, I'm already done listening to anything you have to say because obviously your head is so far up your ass you can't breathe or do anything right. But the Trump moves to end union protections across board, blah, 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 blah. Let's talk about union protections real fast. I'm not in a union. I have never been in a union. I have met people who have been in a union and think it's the best thing in the world. Sliced bread could never compare to a union. I've met the other people who have been in unions who think it's the worst thing in the entire world whatsoever. And I think it's a 50-50 situation. This guy, I thought he was about to run over his kids. Y'all, this guy parked next to me. And then two little kids under the age of 5 got out. Please hold as he walks by and sees me looking at him and talking about him. 2 kids under the age of 5 got out and are running around this little parking lot. And then the car started moving. I literally just had a small heart attack because I thought he forgot to put it in park. And I was like, oh my gosh. But then I realized he was still in the driver's seat moving while the children were just standing there. And they're under 5 years old. They could have easily just walked in front of the vehicle. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Oh. Anyway, back to where we were. Okay, so the union thing. Here's my thought of the union thing. From my not knowing anything about unions, because I've never been in one. All I can think of is when Biden had the union situation with the railroad. And the railroad people wanted this, and this. And Biden said, I'm going to make it basically illegal for you to do anything about anything, and that's it. I'm just totally messing all of this up. But at the same time, that's pretty much what it came down to. Biden signed an executive order that gave the unions kind of sort of what they wanted, but also still screwed the union workers. And it's like, well, maybe the way Trump wants to do this is maybe, because I don't know, just let's be blatantly honest here. I don't know if Trump wants to do away with union stuff because he wants to make it so that people have an actual say in what happens to them in their jobs and their pay and their time off and all this other stuff. And when you have the unions, I know Starbucks was trying to start a union, or they did. Don't remember. The teachers union, I know a lot of people say is absolutely awful. And I used to be in construction. You guys know that if you've been here for a while. Construction, right? Like commercial, governmental, all this stuff. And we worked with a lot of different unions in the things that we did. Electrical union being one of them. The International Brotherhood of Electric, IBE. See? I don't remember the whole letters. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound mean, but I don't remember the whole letters. But we worked with the electricians a lot, and they were union, right? And they all came from up north down to the south to do with all the work. And it's because the companies wanted to work with the unions because they were cheaper in the long run than going with non-union contractors, because the union employees couldn't work as long as the non-union employees, so they got paid less. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I do know that it made the build out time of things and the things that we were doing, it dragged it out so much longer. And it was crazy to me. I was like, why would you want to be part of a union, number one? And why would you want to have unions do work for you? But again, this is from ignorance, not in a bad way, but like legitimate ignorance, because I don't know enough about unions to make a fully educated a fully educated decision on if they are good or if they are bad. But I do know that there's been a lot of people that loved them in the past, but over time, the unions have been more about the union leaders and less about the people in the union. So you have more people that are not fond of them, right? So now with Donald Trump trying to end union protections across the government, I'm like, well, we already know that with like USAID and all these other things and all the issues that Doge is finding out, maybe there shouldn't be unions in the government. Maybe it should be in other things only. Maybe in education, maybe in the railroad, maybe in electrical, but not in the Treasury Department, Justice Department, Veterans Affairs, stuff like that. But again, I don't have 100% knowledge on it, so I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that Trump is doing here, but I thought should be something you guys know about in case you weren't aware, and y'all can make up your minds on it, or even put some comments in the comment section when this is all done to educate people like me who don't know a ton about the union. So that was that. Now, one or two more things, and then I'm gonna let you guys go, because I still got to go to the grocery store. There's so many things I want to talk about. Man, we're gonna have to save some of it for tomorrow because there's so much. There's just so much. What do we want to do right here? Oh, well, I said we're going to talk about the people in the road. Okay, look, I want you guys to see this video. You see this video? This is, I don't even know where this is, but it's clearly a very busy freeway, highway, whatever. And this guy is walking out into the road trying to get people to stop. Listen, you walk out in front of my car. I do have insurance for a reason. So at first you're like, well, maybe there's something wrong, right? You only see one or two people. So you're thinking maybe, and there's the freaking flags. And you're like, nope, should have kept driving. If I was the car behind any of these frontline cars, I'd be like, y'all motherfuckers, like now we're stuck here forever because they're not going to move. They're not going to leave. They're going to surround your car. You scratch my car, I will use you as a speed bump. I don't understand how this is okay. This right here should immediately get every single one of them arrested. And if you're illegal, your ass should be on a plane back to wherever you came from. And I don't care if it sounds heartless. If you're stupid enough to do this, we should be smart enough to send you back where you're from. You see the flags? That's what you care about, is where those flags are from. You don't care about the USA. If you did, you'd be holding United States of America flags. You'd be holding red, white, and blue. And you're not. So, like, these are things I don't understand. These are things I don't understand. Why do you want to come to this country if all you want to do is bitch about this country and talk about how great your country is? So go back to your country. And again, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but it wouldn't occur to me to leave the United States to go live in, I don't know, pick a place, any place, doesn't really matter. Go live in that place and then just parade around all the time the United States flag and stand in the middle of their roads and protest all this and all that and talk about how great my country is. I mean, I would talk about how great my country is, but at the end of the day, why did you, if all you care about is your country you came from, why the hell are you here? Why are you here? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. And why do you think that standing in the middle of the road is safe? You look like speed bumps. Y'all, I saw this video. I'm not going to show it to you because even I had like a physical reaction to this video. And normally I'm like, man, that sucked. But I was watching this video. This repo guy, this guy, not the smartest crayon in the box, brightest crayon in the box, smartest, nope, that's not how that works. Brightest crayon in the box, brightest bulb in the box, sharpest crayon in the box. I don't know, whatever. He wasn't very bright or smart or sharp. So he's got his repo truck and he has backed it up to this car that he wants to repo. Okay, there's nowhere for this car that he wants to repo to go. It can only go forward. Please keep this part in mind. It can only go forward or backwards if it wants to hit the building behind it. So the repo guy is he's got a camera set up. He's set up his phone or something so he can record what's going on, which I'm glad he did, but at the same time, I'm like, nobody should have seen this. This is nobody. Anyway, so he's got his repo van truck, whatever, backed up, and it's a red car that he's about to repo. And the guy whose car is about to get repoed comes flying through the parking lot and runs around and gets into the driver's side of the car that's about to get repoed. And the repo man, I don't know how many brain cells he had, but clearly it was not enough, decided that while the guy whose car is getting repoed is getting into the car, now would be the best time to lay down underneath the car that's getting repoed to put the chains on the tires. He put his body, y'all, underneath the car between the front tire and the back tire to put a chain around it so that he could pull the car up onto the thing. While the guy who clearly does not want his car taken from him is in the driver's seat. Can you guess what happened? Y'all, let me just say it this way. I thought the guy was like a chicken. I thought his head was gone and his body was still flailing around. Like when a chicken, you cut off its head, IBEW. Thank you. I see that just came up there. When you cut off the head of a chicken, its body does not know its head is gone and it runs around like a little headless crackhead, right? This man crawled underneath this car. The guy in the car hit reverse, ran over Broski's head, okay, which is laying on the concrete tire like this. And all I can picture is a gusher. You know those candies from back when we were like in our teens and younger years? A gusher. I thought his head freaking popped and his body starts wailing, like flailing around. And this lady walks up. At the exact same time that Broski's head gets run over and smushed like a gusher. And she's telling the guy in the car, she's like, hey, you could go that way. Like she's trying to tell him how to leave. She's looking at the guy flailing around on the ground. She's holding her phone in her hand, but nobody's being called. Nothing is happening. And I was like, what the actual, my whole body literally, it was like, oh, it was like a physical recoil watching this thing. And then the guy is like flailing around and like trying to roll his body underneath the car next to him while the guy knowingly has run over his head is now still trying to figure out how to do an 85-point turn to drive out this way because he can't go this way because that's where the repo car is. And the guy that got his head run over and I thought popped like a gusher, he stands up, y'all. He stands up. And I was like, no. I was so worried it was going to look like something out of any scary movie. Just name one where their face is all like, right? And he gets up and he's holding his head like this and he walks up to the car and then he takes his phone and stops the video. And I was like, our heads are very resilient. That's all I could think. I was in a motorcycle accident, y'all. I was in a motorcycle accident many years ago, which is also when my child will never get on a motorcycle with anybody. Never trust anybody as the driver of a motorcycle. I was in a motorcycle accident. I don't remember it. I remember everything leading up to the moment, and I remember waking up in a hospital 2 weeks later. The moment of impact, no clue what happened, but I do know from the police report that I flew over the car, helmet on, hit the ground so hard my helmet came off, and then head hit the ground, therefore skull fracture, fun times, and then was in a hospital for 2 weeks. And I'm thinking to myself, how did my skull crack? And this man got run over. His whole head got run over by an entire car. And after flailing around like a headless chicken, he was able to get up and walk to his phone to stop the recording and hopefully call an ambulance. But I don't know what happened to him afterwards. I don't know if like everything was just like draining into his body. I don't know if he died. I don't know what happened. And I really want to know, but I would never, that video was traumatic. And so that's why I shared it with you, but not visually, because I didn't want you guys to have that same physical reaction that I did. All right, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna let you guys go because we've been talking too long. I know you guys have stuff to do. It's Friday night. I would like to say that the earthquake that hit Thailand this morning. They're saying, I think they said so far 150 people have died. This is just a picture of it. I'm not going to show you anything from this. One page or whatever on X decided to post a video, and I don't understand. I don't understand why people show the things they show. Like the guy getting his head squished like a grape. He didn't. I'm gonna assume he didn't die, which is why the video was able to go up there, because it's from his phone. Oh, I just thought of that. So maybe he didn't die. Maybe he's okay, and he was like, "This will go viral. I'll put it out there." Okay, maybe. But one of these channels on X has a video of somebody in Thailand who was in a crane, in a very high, very tall crane. Okay, and was in the driver's seat of the. I don't know if it's driver's seat because you're not really going anywhere, but he was in the operator seat of this crane, and this person on X, which I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to give them any notoriety, he's a big channel to begin with, posted the video of the crane breaking, snapping in half during this earthquake, and the man who was in the operator seat, his body falling out of the crane and plummeting. Why would you show that? Like, why would you show that? There's a difference between, no, you should never show the act of anybody dying. Like, that's crazy to me, which is also why I think we are such a desensitized nation, person, planet. I don't know the right word there. But because we see it in movies so often, and now you see it being shown like it's nothing on social media and the news, now when you see somebody getting murdered or dying or whatever else, you're just like, huh. And it doesn't compute with people that is real. That is literally the end of somebody's life, because we've all been conditioned to just not register it or not give a shit. It's absolutely crazy to me. Yeah. Somebody just said the same thing of 9/11. Listen, I will get emotional if we go that route, so I'm not gonna go that route. But I do remember, again, I was 19 years old, and I remember every single thing, and watching people jumping out of that building, man, that shit stays with you. Look, nope. I didn't know anybody in that building, but it doesn't stop the fact that, I mean, I can't even imagine. I don't want to imagine. I mean, I saw it. I saw people jumping. Look, stop it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. I'm not crying today. Y'all not going to get it out of me today. Okay, we're going to scooch over to something completely different just to not think about that anymore. And I want you guys to hear this, and then I'm going to let you go. Okay? Because I love y'all, and I want you to be able to enjoy your Friday night. So we're going to play this. We're going to get over here. And just because it's hilarious to me, stop it. Pause. Freaking sausage fingers. Do your job. Okay, listen to this. Hopefully you can hear this. If not, I will read it to you as like a recap. You ready? Here we go.
Harry, do you trust Trump's national security team to keep our war plans top secret?
You trust your mother every night to fix your hot pockets and make sure your Game Boy is turned on.
Bro, it is like a whole day of savageness, because this person said, listen, let me read it to you. Representative Tim Burchett just ended this little guy's career, right? Do you trust Trump's national security team to keep our war plans top secret? That's what this little kid said. And Burchett said, do you trust your mother every night to fix your hot pockets and make sure your Game Boy's turned on? Well, that was hilarious. Number one, Game Boys, they kind of went away a long time ago. Now it would be a, what is it called? A Nintendo Switch? I think that's the one. Either way, that shit was funny. So, I thought it was funny. I know people, I just saw something about why don't I say Nissan? Or whatever, because I say Tesla. I don't know. I like saying Tesla. It might be Tesla, but every once in a while I hear Elon Musk say Tesla. And Nissan, if you listen to Jeremy Clarkson, he says Nissan. So it all depends on where you're from and what you want. And then I was watching a thing yesterday, and here we say high fructose corn syrup. Over in Australia, they say high fructose. And I'm like, that sounds weird. I don't know how you say fructose. Fructose. That might be the right way to do it, but it sounds real stupid to me because I'm used to high fructose corn syrup. So it is just how it is. Pecan pie, caramel, you know, to each their own. Tesla, whatever. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. So that's that. We'll do a lot more tomorrow, just because I would like to just quickly, and this is off of any topic whatsoever, I have been stressed as a mofo all day. for no apparent reason. Actually, some apparent reasons. I will give you 2 apparent reasons. Number 1, my child stayed home from school today because she wasn't feeling good. Her stomach was hurting. And there's been a lot of talk going around of stomach bugs. So I was like, I'll let you stay home just to be on the safe side. It's fine. So I let her stay home. And then I left to go get my nails done. Hello, Easter purple. I went to go get my nails done. And then my husband decided he was going to go wash the car, go do something. I'm not sure what he did. And so then he sends me a message. He goes, hey, you want to meet for a brunch or breakfast or whatever, like a little date thing. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. I said, how's the kid, right? And he said, she wasn't awake when I assumed she was asleep when I left. I sent her a text. She didn't reply. It's fine. Y'all, nothing against the man. But mom and me was like, wait, no, you should have woken her up and make sure she was okay, right? Make sure she's good. Because then, and y'all are going to call me a helicopter mom, I called her 47 times in a row and she did not answer the phone. And I sent her text messages and she did not answer. And the anxiety in me started building and building and building because all I could think was she didn't feel good this morning. I saw her when I left and she was asleep, but that was at 9 something. What if something's happened to her? She's not answering her phone. She's a teenager. What teenager doesn't answer her phone? And especially when I call 47 times in a row, which I know is a little whatever. And it was scaring the crap out of me. So it affected my mood. I was very anxiety and bitchy and whatever. And so finally we get home and I go in her room and I'm like, kid, are you okay? And she's like, huh? And I'm like, I called you 47 times. She goes, oh, my phone's on do not disturb because it's on school hours. And I was like, but see, if the man had gone into the room and been like, yeah, she's still sleeping, I would have been fine. But because he didn't check to see if she was sleeping, then I was worried because mom brain, right? Mom brain. It's not just me. So that gave me anxiety. Then, and this is stupid and y'all may not understand it. Some of you may, especially if you're OGs and you've been around for a while. YouTube sucks lately. And they hate me. So I don't know what to do anymore. Like when I talk politics, everybody jump ship. I'm losing subs like hemorrhaging them. You would think that like diarrhea. I'm diarrheaing out subs. It's ridiculous. And YouTube is like, we don't really want to show your videos to anybody. So you know, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know what to do anymore. So then I get anxiety about that. And I'm like, well, maybe they don't want to hear about Walmart. Maybe they don't want to hear about Trump. Maybe they don't want to hear about this. So then I kind of overthink things in my head. And then I talk myself out of talking about the things I want to talk about. Because then I'm like, well, maybe y'all don't want to talk about it. And then YouTube doesn't want it. So that's where I'm at right now. Just so you know, that's where I'm at. So that is all. I love you guys immensely. So I don't know how to title things. I don't know how to do thumbnails anymore. It's like my first day on YouTube. I don't know what the crap is what. So I appreciate every single one of you for being here. More than you can even possibly imagine. You help ease my anxiety and my self-doubt every second that you're here. So thank you. I appreciate you. And now I'm going to go get some groceries. And then I'm going to go home. And I'm going to convince my child that she wants to curl up on the couch with me and watch Speed. I'm in the mood for some Keanu Reeves. So there's that. All right. I love you all. Thank you very much. I'll see you again tomorrow at some point. Take a Valium. No, probably take a glass of wine though. A glass of wine sounds good. Anyway, I love y'all. Have a good night. Do fun things. Okay? Bye.